now that we've, do you know what I'm getting at now?
Yes, sir.
When you walked away from the defendant after your argument that night, what did you say to Aditya Shah?
I said Chandler is so selfish.
Okay. And what happened next?
I walked away. They continued going down Columbia, back toward the house, and I went sort of in the opposite direction. And I actually ended up texting Rebecca Green at that point, for whatever reason. And me and her met on the upper quad of our campus by the Silent Sam statue. And then me and her talked for a little while, and then we started walking back towards my fraternity house, at which point we saw Josh and Alex, and they were asking if we had seen Chandler, and we said no, we hadn't seen him since I walked away.
Okay. How would you describe your level of impairment at this time?
Very drunk.
Okay. You said a second ago that you walked in the other direction, they went in another direction. Can you just specify who the they is?
As in Chandler and whoever else was with him at the time. I honestly don't remember.
Okay.
I guess Ditz as well.
Okay. After you walked away, do you remember if you texted anything to the defendant?
Yes, sir.
Okay. If I were to show you a thread of text between your phone and the defendant's phone, would you be able to tell us whether or not you had that text interaction?
Yes, sir.
I'm showing you what's been marked for identification purposes as States Exhibit 1D. Take a moment, look at it as far as what's not blacked out, obviously, and just let us know if you feel like this is, to your recollection, an accurate representation of text that you sent and received from the defendant's, to and from the defendant's phone on or about 2:27 a.m. on the 19th of July of last year.
Yes, sir, it is.
Your Honor, I would seek to move into Evidence States Exhibit 1D.
Yes, sir.
And for the court reporter, I would note this is page 747 of Exhibit 1. If you would please read the texts that are on that piece of paper. I don't believe you need to read the times. If you would agree that the time the text thread starts is 2:27 a.m., would you agree to that?
Sir.
Okay. And then following that, the preceding texts were within the next minute or two?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Would you please read the texts as they read on that paper, and please include message to, message from?
Excuse me. Message from Case Aldridge. Suck my dick, asshole. Call from Becca, missed. Message from Case Aldridge. You clearly only care about yourself. Message from Case Aldridge. So fuck off. Message to Case Aldridge. Suck a dick, dash, from Ditz. Message to Case Aldridge. Cancer drove off in his car. Message to Case Aldridge. We tried to stop him. He was mad.
And by context, would you agree that cancer drove off in his car probably referred to the defendant?
Yes, sir.
And you would agree that you sent those messages?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Case, I told you you would have a chance to explain, so do you want to provide any explanation or context to those comments?
I was incredibly drunk and we were overreacting to a situation that didn't deserve it.
Okay.
That's all I have to say.
Do you disagree with the characterization that appears to be from Ditz that the defendant was mad?
Yes, sir.
You do disagree?
I don't disagree.
Okay.
Sorry.
Were you mad at that time?
Yes, sir. I was upset.
I'm going to just back up briefly. When you went to He's Not Here that night, did you purchase any alcohol from that establishment?
Yes, sir.
Do you remember how you paid?
With a debit card.
Okay. Have you been shown, previous to this moment, a copy of your receipt from that night?
Yes, sir.
Okay. If you were able to see it, would you be able to tell us whether or not it's an accurate representation of your receipt from that night?
Yes, sir.
Correction, receipts plural.
Yes, sir.
Permission to approach the witness? Yes. Case, I'm showing you what's been marked for identification purposes as State's Exhibit 17. Take a moment and look at it and tell me if you can tell us what that is.
These are two receipts from He's Not Here, both in the amount of $7, both signed by me.
Okay. Now, are those the original receipts or are they a copy?
Their copy.
Okay. Do these copies, to the best of your knowledge, appear to accurately represent the original?
Yes, sir.
Okay. State would seek to move in evidence State's Exhibit 17.
Yes, sir. Left, left.
Okay. I'm going to ask you just a couple details about those receipts, okay? What are the times on each of the two receipts?
One says 1:23 a.m. and one says 1:53 a.m.
Okay. And what is the amount of money you actually paid on each of those receipts?
$8.
Okay, so you said $7 a second ago. Can you just explain?
Yes, I left a $1 tip in both of them,
Okay.
so I paid $8.
Okay. Did you drink both of those beers, to your recollection?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you had had some alcohol before that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did the issue of you possibly being charged with any criminal offenses ever come to your attention?
Yes.
Okay. And did you hire the assistance of an attorney to help you figure that out?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did you make any type of agreement, verbal or otherwise, through that attorney about whether or not you were going to be charged with anything?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And as far as what you understood you could potentially be charged for, are you aware that, were you ever made aware of the possibility of being charged with anything other than use of a fake ID or underage consumption of alcohol?
No, sir.
Okay. Did anybody ever say to you, you know, you could be charged with this felony or that felony?
Just talking amongst friends, we talked about accessory to murder, but
Okay.
that's...
And that's fair, but did anybody from the district attorney's office ever allude to that possibility?
No, sir.
Did any investigator from ALE or Highway Patrol ever allude to that?
No, sir.
Okay. When you discussed this with your attorney, did he convey to you secondhand that someone had, from the state, had alluded to you being charged with? Okay. So what was your understanding of your agreement about the possible criminal charges?
As long as I cooperated with the prosecution, I would not be charged.
Okay. And by cooperate, what do you mean?
Recount the events to the best of my knowledge of the night.
Okay. Were you ever asked by anyone to lie, exaggerate, or embellish your testimony?
No, sir.
If you had been asked to lie, embellish, or exaggerate your testimony, would you have done it?
No, sir.
Nothing further for this witness on direct.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Aldridge. I'm Roger Smith. I'm one of the lawyers that represents Chandler Kania, of course. You and I have never spoken about this case, have we?
No, sir.
You've never spoken with any attorney before that represents Chandler. Is that right?
Yes, sir. Although I was deposed in the civil matter, but not in the criminal matter.
But I wasn't there, and I wasn't here.
Correct.
You and Chandler met freshman year at Carolina, right?
Sir.
You pledged fall, Chandler pledged spring.
Yes, sir.
You guys ended up, not at first, but eventually becoming best friends.
Yes, sir.
You and Rebecca had dated on and off, I think you said for about a year, maybe a year and a half.
Yes, sir.
You had studied abroad in Spain before this event that brings us all here today, this courtroom. You studied abroad in Spain from June to July 2015,
More or less. Yes, sir.
thereabouts. When you got back, you'd been back about a week before this event, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Mr. Neiman had asked you about some texts, the first round of texts, not the later ones, but the first round of texts that were between yourself and Chandler on July the 17th, those screenshots. Those were between you and Chandler and talking mainly about Rebecca, right?
You're referring to Exhibit 1C?
Yes, sir, exactly.
Yes, sir.
Now, in those texts, you're sort of being clear, you're done with her, you know, I think you already seen her, and what did you say when you had already seen her in that text?
Becca's already here, fucking kill me.
Gotcha. That's sort of how you felt about being around her at that time, correct?
An exaggeration, but yes.
Sure. And that was Friday, the day before Saturday night, right?
Yes, sir.
Chandler mentions, toward the latter part of those texts, you know, something to the effect of might help me with marketing, right?
Yes, sir.
But the majority of those texts are, you know, he's trying to tell you, and I'm paraphrasing, I'm not gonna come up there and go through all the text, but sort of bringing it all together, he's trying to get you to give Rebecca another chance.
Yes, sir.
Ultimately, that's what he's trying to do, correct?
Yes, sir.
And in those texts, he's certainly not doing it in any kind of an angry manner, was he?
No, sir.
He wasn't doing it in any kind of aggressive manner. He's like, you know, come on, man, you know, she's different now. Give her another chance. Something about that.
Yes, sir.
And I just want to make sure I'm characterizing it the right way.
Yes, sir.
On Saturday evening, July the 18th, 2015, you had been at the fraternity house sort of that day, right?
Yes, sir.
Do you recall what time you started drinking beer that day?
Sometime just after lunch, maybe around 1 or 2.
Just kind of hanging around the fraternity house?
Yes, sir.
Chandler and his buddies from Ashboro, Josh Hall, Alex Pugh, they got there around 8 p.m., is that right?
Yes, sir.
How long did you guys hang out there at the fraternity house drinking beer?
Maybe 2 hours.
Okay. I think Mr. Neiman asked you about this. You didn't personally see pot smoke, that's not your thing, you don't smoke pot.
Correct.
You knew Chandler did, right?
Yes, sir.
But you two just didn't do it together, not your thing.
Correct.
And at some point, Chandler and his buddies from Ashford, they went to Rebecca Green's shortbread apartments. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Is that, when they went, did you stay at the fraternity house drinking beer, or had you already gone to La Res? I'm not sure.
I was still at the fraternity house.
Okay. And I take it you specifically didn't go to Rebecca's at shortbread because you just didn't want to be around her.
Correct.
Did Chandler try to get you to go over there?
He might have asked me if I was going, but short of that, he did not pressure me to go.
That was exactly the word I was going to use. He wasn't really exerting a bunch of pressure on you to do it. Maybe he said, "Oh, come on with us, man. There's something about that."
Yes, sir.
Chandler and his guys, they go over to Rebecca Green's at Shortbread. Do you remember who else went with those three, meaning Chandler, Josh, Alex? Did anybody else, if you recall, go over there with them?
I can't say with certainty.
That's fair enough. What time did you go to La Res?
Around midnight.
You went with Austin, Joe Lopez, Connor Fitzpatrick.
Yes, sir.
When you got to La Res, well, were you and Chandler, I'm sorry, strike that, let me back up. When you're still at the fraternity house drinking beer, you were drinking beer there with Connor Fitzpatrick, right?
Sir.
While Chandler was at Rebecca Green's, were you guys texting any back and forth then, if you recall?
I don't believe we were, short of meet me at La Res at midnight, I believe was the plan.
Nothing major going back and forth between texts.
Correct.
Nothing like we heard in the second round of texts that, of course, you and I will go over, but maybe just
Yes, sir.
something like that?
Yes, sir.
You went to La Res around midnight. When you got there, was Chandler already there?
No, sir.
Do you recall when he got there?
He probably got there 15 or 20 minutes after I did. I had already gotten a drink and everything, and then saw Chandler.
And what were, I don't know that I wrote it down. What were you drinking when you got to La Res?
Gin and tonic.
You were drinking a gin and tonic?
Yes, sir.
And when Chandler got there, do you recall, I think you recalled him getting a gin and tonic, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And is La Res one of those bars that you folks would frequently go to,
Yes, sir.
using the fake IDs to get in and all that kind of thing, right?
Yes, sir.
How many gin and tonics did you have there?
Probably 2, maybe just 1.
One to two?
1 or 2. Yes, sir.
Just not sure.
Yes, sir.
It's clear you had a couple of blue cups that he's not, and we'll come back to that, but just staying in chronological order. Staying in La Res, you had at least one gin and tonic there. You saw Chandler drink a gin and tonic. Did you see him drink one or more than one, if you remember?
I can't say with certainty. I saw him with 1, definitely.
Fair enough. Did you see him take any shots there?
I did not observe that, no.
In La Res, Chandler was hanging out with Josh and Alex more, that's my understanding. You interacted some with him, but not much at La Res. Is that fair?
Yes, sir.
And if it's not, if I have that wrong, please let me know.
Sir.
At La Res, do you remember if Rebecca came to La Res or not?
I don't remember her going to La Res.
Was Becca texting you directly this evening?
No, sir. Not at that point.
Not at that point. She was using Chandler as the middleman, so to speak. Is that fair?
That is fair, yes.
But she wasn't texting you directly.
Correct.
And you said not at that point, she was later on?
Correct. After the altercation.
Right. And we'll come back to that. I think you stayed at La Res for about an hour, and then you went to He's Not Here. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
With whom did you go, did you walk from La Res to He's Not Here, if you recall?
I believe it was with Joe and Austin, and I believe Chandler came a little bit after, but can't honestly say definitively either way.
Well, let's talk about that. And I believe you, if not alluded to it, certainly said it. By the end of the night, you got married, correct?
Yes, sir.
At this point, when you're at La Res, are you already intoxicated?
Yes, sir.
Sort of, I take it, a progression, just the more you drink, I mean, that makes sense, correct?
Yes, sir.
When you went to He's Not Here, Joe and Austin, are they also under 21?
Yes, sir.
They also have fake IDs?
Yes, sir.
Did about everybody in the fraternity house have fake IDs? That was under 21, of course.
I wouldn't say that's fair, but a good number of us did. Yes.
When you got to He's Not, you drank blue cups, and I think 2 of them were the receipts.
Yes, sir.
That's a 32 ounce of beer for $7.
Yes, sir.
And you saw, how many blue cups did you see Chandler drink, if you know?
I saw him with a blue cup in his hand, and he might have gotten another one. I honestly can't say.
You guys interacted some, and He's Not in the bar, but not, it doesn't sound like a lot to me. Is that accurate?
Correct. Probably more so than we did at La Res, but again, we weren't sitting next to each other the whole time and chatting.
Okay. Do you remember if there was a band playing?
I don't.
And he's not, Rebecca's name came up, and he's not, between you and Chandler, of course.
Yes, sir.
Nothing got heated at all that he's not here, correct?
No, sir.